Welcome to episode 1. He is Lais, and I am the coach, and that is the name of our show.
Everything stems from our identity.
You can still take a chance and take a risk, right?
What is the level of intention and attention that you are putting forth?
To us, success is being able to live life on our terms.
You're either going to take care of your health by choice or by obligation. So make it a choice now.
But it's about the experience.
Yeah, if you're part of the living, you're going to have life.
What if it is better than you even thought?
We all have that limitless potential.
The fear that steps into most people paralyzes them.
I don't think anyone's ever said any of the shit you just said, which is amazing.
There's a lot of parts of you that you should let go of.
You have time for all of that. You have time for this too.
Guys, we are back.
We're back, bitches!
Welcome, everybody, to Lais and the Coach. Welcome, everybody, to Lais and the Coach. And we have a special guest this evening that is in the future. Kristy is in Australia, and it is already the next day over there. So before I introduce her, she requested that I introduce her as a transformational coach, but I was reading through her website, and I really like this. It says she is a mastery method life coach who helps you expand into the fullest expression of who you are. And I find it to be amazing because coincidentally, Lais and I have been talking about that on an ongoing basis. So we are excited to have this conversation. Kristy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I always say most of my clients are in the States. And so I always say, I won't tell you what happens because I'm in the future.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That. So before we get to how you got here, let's talk a little bit about what it is that you do, the kind of coaching that you offer, and then we can kind of go backwards from there and kind of figure out how you got to doing the work that you do now.
Yeah, okay. So the coaching that I do now is really deeply somatically based. So somatic meaning the body, the soma is the body, and the body is what holds the subconscious. So anything that's ever happened to you is stored in the body. So we think that we've got like no memories of the past or just a little bit, and I guarantee you it's all there. So if people come to me and they have a block, say they're doubting themselves, or, you guys do a lot of fitness and nutrition, like say they're saying that they want to go to the gym and they're just not going. It's not because there's something wrong with them. It's because there's a block there. There's something that feels safer in not going to the gym. So I would go in through the body, through the experience that's in the body, the feeling, and through that we can get to the root moment, the root memory that fear became part of them. And so once we get to that, we can reprogram it. We can let that younger version of them feel what it was that they felt in that time, because it's always a time where someone felt overwhelmed and alone. And the body is really intelligent. It locks in that feeling and goes, oh, I don't have time to feel that now. I'll feel it later. And what also happens is whatever that younger person was thinking gets locked into the body at the same time. And so that just starts to become part of their normality, that it's easier for me to not go to the gym. It's easier for me to not go to the gym. So it makes it really hard for them. They're like, what's wrong with me? I'm saying I want to go to the gym and I'm not. When we go in and we reprogram that, they don't have to keep going over that every day and having that struggle. It's done like that because the root has been shifted. And so it's like they were looking through a filter and that filter's no longer there and they're free. So they can just step in, they can live in their highest version in the way that they're saying that they want to, and they can follow through with it.
That's amazing.
I love that.
And I have so many things to say and so many questions to ask. Because, one of the things that we've noticed over the years is a lot of times people go through one of the transformations and they go from, maybe somebody who never exercised before to stepping on stage and now they're a fitness model. And a lot of times the identity doesn't catch up and they start to go backwards, right? And we always find that while the goal is significant enough to maybe inspire them to do the work to get there, once they get there, they can't hold on to it because they always go backwards and try to reset into a former version of themselves. But before we tackle all of that, How did you get to do the work that you're doing now?
So I actually started out as a nutrition and fitness coach. So I used to do that a few years ago. And then I realized that what I was doing, the reason I was doing it was because I wanted people to feel good about themselves. And so I knew that. So I was doing all the nutrition and the fitness, all to help them feel good about themselves. And I discovered breath work. And so in COVID, I discovered breath work, and I started doing breath work every day in COVID, and it was changing my life. It was a way that I was like getting off my face, but not having a calm down. So I was doing it every day. But what I didn't realize is that I was clearing all of these like unworthiness patterns, because I don't know if you guys have done much breath work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you'll have shifts in you, you don't even know what it is. So then you'll have an emotion come up and out. That emotion had been trapped in your body. And now all of a sudden you can do things that you couldn't do before. You feel more worthy, you're more centered. And so I was using a lot of breath work with my nutrition and fitness clients because it was a big needle mover in helping them to get out of their own way. And then when I've had along that journey, I've had a big lot of loss. I lost my house, we lost our company, I had to move states with 2 kids on my own. I've had family estrangement, like a lot of stuff has happened along the way. And when I discovered somatic coaching, I realized that this was the same experience that you get with breath work, where you get that breakthrough, but we can be more precise. So we can say, okay, there's something wrong, like not wrong, there's something that's blocking you here. And so we can dive into that in particular and have that release with that, rather than with breath work, which is beautiful. You're just leaving the intelligence up to the body, and the body knows what needs to shift. But you don't necessarily know what it is, and you don't necessarily have the control around what you're shifting. So with somatic coaching, like breath work is a somatic practice. So it's a similar concept. It's just more precise with what you can shift. And so once I discovered that, then I was like, oh, well, I want to coach people on everything. So that's why now I'm a life coach, and I use
That makes so much
powers now.
sense because you see so many of those holes when you're doing fitness and nutrition, right? Like you see how much of it is identity, how much of it is just mindset, how much of it is missing, because you can do so much with your fitness, with your nutrition. And again, that's why we've attached these big goals to the people that we coach, because it gives them that other level of, like themselves, really. But it does make sense that you went that route, because you do start to see how much of that you're already doing in your coaching when you're dealing with people all the time. Because there is, like, we all need it. Like, we all need that extra support.
Well, I think there's 2 things. One, let me ask the first question first, which is, why do you think more of that isn't talked about, right? Like we were talking on another episode. It's almost like we don't really have an instruction manual on how to do too many things, right? We go to school and you learn math and science and whatever, but you don't really know how to manage yourself and take care of your body, especially when it comes to trapped emotions and different things like that. It's like, why do you think that there isn't more of a focus on that, considering how important it is?
I think that my opinion is that
Mm-hmm.
we've been so focused on the external, like on the circumstances, like you guys probably come across it yourselves in like, I want to build this body and then I'll be happy, or I want to have this amount of money and then I'll be happy. And so I think that in, the Industrial Revolution and all of that, it was all externally focused. I need to have the house and the career, and then I've made it. And I think that especially, I notice there is a big difference in America and Australia. Australia are very behind on this, but in America, you guys have been a lot more focused on like emotions and therapy and psychology for a bit now. And so it's now starting to click. And when it gets to somatics, like it's, when you know how it works and what it does, it's like, why would we not all be doing this? And it is easy to understand after you get your head around it. It's not easy. It's not a natural instinct. It goes against every instinct that you have as a human being, which is why it's really difficult. It's why it's not for everyone, because the natural human reaction is to go, there's an uncomfortable feeling in my body. I don't want to feel that. I'm just going to not feel that. And so we push it down. And I was saying this to someone the other day, because I was saying how people say time heals all wounds. And it's like when you get a cut on your hand, and yes, time is going to heal it, but you need to clean it. You need to put something over it. You need to look after it. And when we have an emotional wound, which we all have them from when we were kids, it's part of human beings, human life, the human life path, is that we'll have a wound, something that comes up. And what we do is we grab the filthiest, dirtiest rag we can find, and we stuff it on there, and we go, stop bleeding, just stop bleeding so I can keep going and I can keep walking through the world and showing up to work and doing whatever I have to do. And so going there and peeling that off after all of those years, people are like, oh no, I don't want to go there, because that's not going to feel good when we first start to peel it off. And it's when we can learn to be with emotions and be with the feelings in the body, then it starts to become easier. But it is that first time where you go to do it, it's like, oh, I don't really want to go there, because that goes against every instinct. And it feels like if I peel that off, then I'm going to be bleeding out and it will never stop. So people have a natural instinct for comfort and a natural instinct to try to be able to cope with the world, and feeling our feelings is the opposite of that. But what's actually true is that when we can feel a feeling without the thought attached to it, the feeling will take 90 seconds to move up and out. Even if it's like a deep grief that's stuck in the body, when we can get into the state where we're not making a story about it of why it should be there or why it shouldn't, and just feel it as a sensation, like what you felt in breath work, it can come up and out in 90 seconds. And then once you've done that, it's like you've taken that rag off, you've put antibiotics on it, and it's healed, and it's beautiful, and it's a beautiful, like you're no longer walking around with that heaviness that's inside of you, pretending that it's not there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was
what was it?
Well, my question was going to be like that about the process, like how much of that process can you share, right? For someone who has no idea like what that is. Is that where you were going with it?
No, I was gonna say, but we'll get back to that.
To it.
That, like, one of the things that we say is the body stores unfinished intentions as tension, right? And it's like all these things that all these loops that we have that we never get to, kind of like are deep in there. And we were talking about it, like even during a massage, you can have a release if you're holding some of that tension in your back or in your legs, because that's where you've stored all of that. And I think that there's sometimes a disconnection between whether or not people even believe that.
Yeah, totally. Because it's an uncomfortable thing to believe.
Right. Like you were saying earlier, like sometimes somebody has neck pain or back pain, right? And it's like, but they don't have an injury, like nothing happened to them, and they don't realize like this is stress. They're like, I slept wrong, or I'm super tight, or I'm old, I'm getting old, right? Whatever the case is, but it's never like, wow, like is something off? Am I stressed? Am I holding tension? Do I have these unfinished loops or unfinished business in my life with my feelings? Like most people don't want to sit in their feelings for sure.
Yeah. And that story of, oh, I'm old or I'm tired or something's happened, that becomes like, then you're locking it in. Once you've given it a reason to be there, then it's locked in. Like you can't get rid of it. So I have had people come into a session with me and they're like, oh, my neck, it's just been so sore for months. And we will dive into it and go into that pain and let it speak. And we can hear what it is. And all it wants, any part of us wants, is to be seen and to be heard. It's just, there's never a part of you that you'll find that can't be loved, even if it's a neck pain. It just is looking for safety or love. That's it. And so when you can be with that pain and without being like, oh my God, I hate this neck pain, or, oh, I'm old, so like judging it or identifying with it, that's what's going to keep it there. when you can drop that and be like, hey, like if imagining that this is like a younger version of you, imagine if it's like a 5-year-old that's just trying to get your attention. And, you know, a 5-year-old will try to get your attention. It's the only way that it knows how is to make your neck sore. And it's trying to keep you safe. So it's like a 5-year-old version of you going, hey, 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 like it just wants to tell you something's wrong. And we go, no, go away. I don't want to feel that. Go away. This is stupid. Like, and that's like doing it to a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old's not going to calm down if it thinks that you're unsafe. It's just going to get louder and louder. Hey, 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 hey. And so what we do with somatic work is we get down on their level and we go, hey, honey, what is it? And we just let that feeling say what it is. Like, what is it that you're trying to tell me? With so much compassion, like you're so welcome to be here. Everything that you have to say is so welcome. And there will be some wisdom in there. The fear, the pain, it's not right and it's not helpful, but there'll be some wisdom in there that we can take. And then once that part of us has been seen and acknowledged and loved, it will let go and it will integrate. And so then you feel like you're in more wholeness because you're not judging yourself, a part of yourself as shouldn't be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, completely.
Totally. Let's talk a little bit about like embodiment and performance, right? Like a lot of the people that listen to the show are people that, you know, they push, they go, 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 go. And stopping sometimes feels like you're being lazy or like you're quitting. So how does, I guess, how does the nervous system decide that it's okay to stop? Or how does somebody go about like connecting that just because you stop doesn't mean that you're quitting or that you're being lazy? Like, where are those like connections?
Yeah. So anything that's done from a place of fear is not going to have longevity in it. It's not going to have the same power in it as something that's coming from like a felt sense of love and inspiration, and I want to do this. So people can perform from that place of love, and like, you know, Ronaldo loves showing up and playing football. He loves to train every day. Like he loves it. So someone who is training because they want to get to this goal, because if I don't get to that goal, then something is wrong with me. If I don't get to that goal, then I'm not worthy. I'm not lovable. I shouldn't be here in the world, which it might not sound like that in the mind, but that's how the body is interpreting it. Will operate on willpower until they get to that goal, but willpower will only take you so far. So that's where what you said earlier about how you have people get to that goal and then they just start to go back because the goal was what they were chasing as part of their worthiness quest, which we're all on. We're all on a worthiness quest, and it's an illusion. But so there could be someone who is performing because they are in fear that if they don't, then they're not worthy, or the opposite of that is that people could opt out because there's a part of them that feels like they're not worthy of achieving the goal. And so that's where it gets really tricky. And so it's about that embodiment. It's about that identity, which is I am the sort of person who gets up and looks after my body every day because I love my body. It comes from love, which is the never-ending life force energy that we all have available to us, which is the part of us that knows that I am worthy beyond any goal. I am worthy beyond any gym workout that I do. And so, yeah, for me, it's about loving the part of us that doesn't want to go to the gym and loving the part of us that does want to go to the gym. And it's a paradox, but it's just that all of us is worthy. All of us is lovable. That's what allows you to tap into that endless life force. And so for me, I do, and it's something that I learned in my coaching certification, the forgiveness process. So it would be like, and I would do this after we've done a deep subconscious process. And I get people to repeat after me so that they're saying it and wrapping it through not just the unconscious, which is something that you didn't even realize was there, but the subconscious, which you can sort of understand that there's something under the surface. And it would go, I forgive myself for judging myself as lazy. The truth is, I am giving myself a day of rest so that I can be more powerful. And adjusting it like that so that they're able to take that day of rest, because when someone takes a day of rest and they're judging themselves as lazy, they're not actually getting the rest. So, and as you know, those rest days are just as important as the
Correct.
big, powerful days. So being able to absorb your rest is so important. So removing those judgments, yeah, it is a subconscious thing, because I guarantee you anyone who is judging themselves as lazy for not going to the gym had a parent who called them lazy for laying on the couch, or you know, it's ingrained in them. So it's about reprogramming the subconscious, but that forgiveness statement is really good at unlocking that.
That honestly was going to be my follow-up questions. Like, how much of that starts when you're a kid,
Say the same thing.
right? Like, how much of that starts when you're a kid,
Yeah.
and then how much of that falls into like parental responsibility and paying attention to how you're talking to your kids, knowing that all these things are going to be scars and wounds and traumas later. Like, you know, are we, I guess for lack of a better word, failing at the parental level, not realizing that all of this influences who these adults end up being, because maybe at the moment seems insignificant. Am I
At the moment, you're like, I'm human too. I'm tired too. Or you say things because you're worried about how your kid's going to turn out, right? If I don't point this out, if I don't fix this behavior, how are they going to do that when they have to work? How are they going to do it when they like we start to project our fears of this human we're in charge of, our personal insecurities and biases. And it's interesting because the scar you're leaving, in my opinion, the scar you're leaving far outweighs any sort of job responsibility they'll ever have. It's almost like this indoctrination of you need to be like this human that does these things this way so that you can be okay. And I just need to make sure that you're going to be okay. But there are a lot of other factors that are more important for you to be okay, in my opinion. But it tends to be a running theme that everything ties back to people's childhoods. What's your take on that?
Absolutely everything. So, so how old are your kids?
Oh, well, we have a 10-year-old and a 23-year-old.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, I have a 14 and a 16-year-old. And first of all, we need some resistance in our life. So you guys know all about resistance. You don't go to the gym and lift the barbell with no weights on the end of it because you're just wasting your time. When you have resistance, you become a better person. Or you become a better physique. When you have resistance in life, you become a better person. And so our kids, I like to come from the perspective of our kids are the exact kids that we were meant to have, and we are the exact parents that they were meant to have.
I agree with that.
And so however we're showing up is exactly what they were put here to have. Now I've done a lot of work around my own parents with that. And that's been a big process of me accepting that they were the parents that I was meant to have. And 100%, I would not be the coach that I am today with the compassion that I have had I not had those exact parents that I have. And so that's the first thing, is that they do need a little bit of resistance. So you can let yourself off the hook a bit with that. And it's all about, you know, so what I heard was that you've got this beautiful self-awareness, and you're like, and I don't want to be projecting my fear onto them. But there's a little sneaky fear in there of I'm fearing projecting my fear onto them. So it's still coming from fear. Mm-hmm. So our kids just need us to be coming from our own love, and they need us to be modeling acceptance of ourself. And that is what is going to give them the freedom to be exactly as they are, to express whatever emotion that they have, which is where we can allow them to have it come up and out in the moment, and they don't have to go back and revisit, pull that dirty old rag off later. So so long as we're human beings, so we are not going to do it perfectly the whole time that we're doing it. And if we can have a focus on repair, then we can avoid these traumas becoming infected, like what we were talking about before. So if you lose your, I don't know if I can swear on here, if you lose your
Yes,
cool,
please do.
yeah. If you lose your shit and then you go away, and even it takes you a few hours because you're really hot, take those few hours and then connect with yourself and go, okay, there was a part of me, because it was never them that made you do that. There was a part of you that didn't feel safe, that didn't feel loved in that moment. And you can give that part of you that safety and the love that it was looking for in that moment, and then go back and say, hey, that wasn't about you, that was about me. And here's what I have from that. Like, here is my truth. Like, I need you to listen to me the first time I say something, or like have it come from that grounded place. So it's not about, there's something wrong with me and I lost it. And, it's about connecting with yourself, and then you're coming back to them with that wholeness, which invites them to be in their wholeness. And then you can come back and be the one who's holding the container, because you're the parent, and see if they've got anything to say. But it no longer touches you because you've already loved that part of yourself. So it's not like you're going in with an open wound that still hasn't been seen, and you're abandoning that part of yourself by saying, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. It's going away, giving yourself that love, giving yourself that safety. And what did I need for that to have gone better? What would I have needed? Giving that to yourself, and then going back in, okay, I'm the parent. I didn't like how I lost it that time. That's not how I want to be. So I'm sorry for that. And here's my truth at the same time, because showing kids that we can be sorry about the way that we acted, and also that there is something that we're requesting in there, that there's that paradox, that's showing them emotional intelligence, that two things can be true at the same time.
And I would say most parents don't have the tools to do that, right? That haven't looked into, I guess, educating themselves in a way where they could parent better. And I have a question about that, because we were talking about this earlier. We just had a photo shoot with some of our clients over the weekend, and it's incredible to hear how scared some women are about standing in front of a camera and getting their picture taken, yet completely fearless about bringing a human into this world and raising them with, again, no instructions on how to do it. How much work do you think, or what is your opinion on how much work more parents should do on learning how to be better parents?
I think that for me, it's about reparenting yourself. So, and then as you
I like that. I want to
yourself,
reparent myself.
I love that.
100%. Yeah, that's what it's all about, because as you reparent yourself, you don't have to try anymore. Like, it's done, and you're coming to your kids with a level of compassion that you've met yourself with. So you can never meet your kids anywhere that you haven't met yourself. So what I notice with myself and with my clients is that when we go into, when I was saying how all of the memories are stored in your body, and we go through via a feeling, when we drop into whatever it is that is coming up for them, whatever's triggering them at the time, often it will be from at the age that their children are. And so we reparent that part of them so that it's being met with compassion. And so maybe it's a 15-year-old version of them who did something really naughty and has been thinking that they're bad ever since. We reparent that. And all of a sudden, they have so much more compassion for their 15-year-old who's just trying to work out the world and be cool with their friends and know themselves. And so they're able to hold that. So when something happens with their 15-year-old, instead of coming at it from you're bad, that's bad, because that's how they thought of themselves, they now have compassion for themselves. They have acceptance for that 15-year-old. They go, oh, no, now I know. Like, I remember that was coming from a loving intention. All I wanted was for mum to be happy. All I wanted was for dad to be happy. I was trying to help my friend, because they always are. They're always coming from love. And when they can see that love in themselves, then they know that their 15-year-old is, maybe doing something that they shouldn't be, but they can understand that it's still coming from a loving intention. There's nothing to judge or push away about that 15-year-old. They naturally parent in a different way. It's not about, oh, I need to go find a book and look up what I should be saying in this time. They know it because they have met themselves there. And
it's so interesting that you say that, because a lot of times we'll be having a talk with our daughter who's 23, and he's been saying it every year. Basically, we'll be having a conversation and he's like, I've never had a 23-year-old daughter. You know what I mean? It's like, where I've never had a 22-year-old daughter back when and it's true, right? It's like you're growing up with them in a lot of ways, and simultaneously having to reparent yourself if you want to do a half decent job. And it's tricky because everybody that works with identity and mindset and trauma and healing and all the things, everybody we've had on the podcast, everybody we've had a conversation with, everybody says, literally every single person, everything comes from your childhood. So then to me, that poses two things, which I believe wholeheartedly also. One, for yourself to know that about yourself, because we all have fucked up childhoods for the most part. At least our generation seems to, right? So
yes.
For one, for you to give yourself some love and compassion and a little bit more understanding, and realize that we probably have some work to do there, because the childhood is the dictator of a lot of things, or of everything. And then the second part to that is, now you as a parent, for those who are parents, which to his point, most of the people that listen to this show are, then you do have to pay attention to, okay, so then I want to make sure, and we all do this, like we were talking about this earlier, I want to do better than my parents. Like, what does that mean? Right? Because it also landed you here, which is not necessarily like, yeah, it's fucked up, but it also like gave you some sort of character and like resilience, and and it's like, it's a dance. They do need resistance, and they don't need just a friend. They do need a leader and a parent. And so to kind of recap that, it's like, for anybody listening, it's like, for one, there's a part where you got to tackle you and your childhood and your wounds, right? And your operating system. And then as a parent, you got to make sure that you're paying attention to that and doing it in a way where you're reparenting yourself. That was the best way to like describe it. And to know that you haven't been here before, and that you are also figuring it out as you go.
But I think it's also like, most people think that they should just know. They have kids and like, yeah, of course, I should know how to do this, and never even second guess any of the decisions that they're making. And most of them are ingrained, I would think, are ingrained in you based on whatever way you grew up, or whatever model of the world you've created up until that point.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Well, because up until this point, if you look back, everyone's like, it didn't used to be this complicated. I fell down. My mom's like, get up. Our, slides were made of steel. We drank from a hose. It's like, yeah, but like times have changed and we're not okay.
And also, are you okay?
Hey, we're not okay. We've just gotten really good at saying that.
Yes. And I think that if you're listening to this podcast, you're already doing a lot better than your parents did. And that is, oh, well, I don't want to generalize, but for the majority of our parents' generation, that is what it was, I should be able to do this, and very egoic, like, I'm not going to be seen as someone who can't do this because I should be able to do this. And then when someone comes and says, hey, mom, this wasn't very good, it's like an attack on them rather than the behavior or trying to express what their feeling was. It's like, oh, you're attacking me, you're saying something is wrong with me, and it brings up shame. And that, I mean, maybe it's just me, but
no, I agree.
Yeah, shame for them, and then they get into a shame spiral, which is where it's like they feel like you're saying that they've got something to be ashamed of, and then they do something shameful, like, belittling you or something like that, which is a shame spiral. It's just, once you have the understanding that that's what they're doing, you can kind of be separate from it and let that happen. And just by even questioning, like, am I doing better than my parents? Even without doing any somatic work or any mindset work or anything, having that question you're already doing better than what your parents did. I can pretty much guarantee it.
I agree with that.
Let me piggyback on that and talk a little bit about integration. What's a signal that your body gives before burnout that most people don't pay attention to? Like I'll give you I don't know if it's a good example, but it's my example. Like literally to the day, 10 years ago, I was super stressed. We had just had our son. We had a million things going on, and I was burned out, like fried. I ended up paralyzed. I had Guillain-Barré syndrome, like all the way to the top, right? I don't think that there were signals, but I probably missed them because I am one of those push through whatever. What's something that somebody could pay attention to that is your body like knocking on the door saying, we have a problem here. Let's address it before it gets too late.
Yeah, well, I would say the stress itself was the indicator, because a lot of people are thinking that stress is a normal part of life, and it's not. You shouldn't be feeling stressed like most of your day, and you shouldn't be feeling stressed most days of the week. So if you are just living with stress and turning up and coping with it, that's the signal to slow down and listen to your body. I'm very in tune with anything that comes up in my body. So as soon as I feel some stress, I would be like, hey, what is that? What are you trying to tell me? But yeah, it sounds like you had a lot going on. And so everything was probably coming from the mind, which is another indicator. So when you're really stressed and it feels like you're not safe, your body's vulnerable, you'll get a lot in your head. So your mind tries to work out how to not feel what the feeling is in the body. So it will be like, probably in your case, it was something like, turn up, be there with the baby, go make more money. And then like, it's like, and then like, and then I can relax, and then this, and it's like tomorrow never comes. You need to be able to be with the stress right here and right now. It needs some love, and it needs some safety. But that's full on that you got so burnt out that you were paralyzed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If I'm going to do something, I do it all the way. I don't do half. How does somebody manage that regulation, right? Like I'll give you a different example. Like one of the things that we've noticed is like anytime she does something that's slow, breath work, theta, like anything slow doesn't always serve her. Yet, if she goes for a run or if she does a really hard workout, that centers her. That regulates.
But you're still changing your breathing, right? But you're not still in one spot.
So what does regulation look like in, I guess, a normal day for a normal person?
Well, I'm not a normal person,
right?
But clearly I got issues. But for somebody not like me.
Yeah. So what happens when you go into that state? What do you notice happens?
Nothing bad happens. It's more like it doesn't make me as calm and relieved as if I do like a HIIT workout or if I go for a run, where it just like I move that energy through my body, like physically, in a way where it's not like it's out or it's gone, but it's not bottled in there, versus if I'm sitting and I'm doing some sort of meditation or breath work or theta healing or anything like that. It feels really good and it does calm me down, like maybe at the end of my day, right? But it doesn't move that energy through my body in a way like the movement does, if that makes sense. Like it makes me chill, but it doesn't make me alive, like, okay, I can breathe.
Yeah. Okay. So it's two different energies. So when you're doing a run or a really strong workout, that's a yang energy. And when what you're talking about is the yin energy, it's not having that same effect. So that would indicate that you're not accessing the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest, where you can really drop in and just be really calm. And it's like a donk, donk, donk. Whereas like when you're doing a really full-on workout, you're in the sympathetic, you're just like pushing. So I would say that do you notice that there's like a resistance that comes up, or is there a belief that it's not as good?
No, I think I just struggle sitting still. I don't know if you've noticed how many times I've like moved and scratched my head and fidget. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
just struggle and I'll do it and I'm calm, but then it's like I'm going to sleep instead of like I'm ready for my day type thing.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So it sounds like you go like really full into the parasympathetic then. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you could just do it at the end of the day, but there's something that's in your body that needs to move, that feels like if I don't move, I'm not okay. So it's about being with that part of you that has a belief that if I don't move, I'm not going to be okay. The other thing is it sounds like you do a lot of exercise and a lot of working out, and the more that you work out, you would know this, the more you need to settle down and to get that same buzz. So I would say it's different. It's the outcome is meant to be different. It's meant to put you into that state of dropping into your center, and which is where you can have your deepest knowings and be very profound. Whereas when you're going into that really strong running energy, like awake, alive, that's more of an action, like being ready for action, which it sounds like is what you're wanting. But I would, yeah, when you're doing it next time, be with the part of you, just be really mindful of the part of you that wants to move, and just see if you can give it some love and just ask it, what do you need? What do you need from me? It will just be looking for safety or love. And so it might feel like it's safer when it's in action, when it's like in full flight. So yeah. Yeah. And that's, that makes sense. That's evolution. That's the human being, is that we can feel safer. We can have a misunderstanding that it's safer if we're in full flight. And both are true. Being strong in your body gives you safety, and being able to relax gives you safety and stops you from becoming paralyzed. So yeah, both are important and both are true.
Or different energies. Yeah.
It's different energies, and it's just a belief system that's programmed in there. Like, I've got to move, otherwise I'm not safe. And so
how much of that safety is the body looking for homeostasis, or like how much of that safety is the body looking to automate? Like the feeling safe is also lack of danger or lack of threat. So how much of that pursuit of safetiness or feeling safe is also the body's way of automating things, right? Because the body does want to not necessarily use a lot of energy. If things can run on autopilot, like breathing or your heart beating, it seems to feel better. But then the alive part, like how much of that would you say is the body just trying to find that place where it can run on autopilot, as opposed to the opposite, which is the human being wanting to go for a run or run through a wall or whatever the case might be?
So I would say if it's holding you back from something, then it's
That's what you were waiting for.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's helping you, and if it's flowing, and you're able to show up and be effective and move towards your goals, don't touch it. That's working exactly as it should. But yeah, if it's holding you back from anything, then it's a fear that's in the body. And yeah, like we have this fight or flight mode that comes up, that is a natural part of ourselves. And a lot of people have fight or flight mode come up when they open an email. And the email is not going to threaten you. You should not punch your laptop or run away. So it's about being able to be with that. It's like, okay, so I open this email and this comes up, or I open my bank statement and this comes up, this fight or flight mode comes up. Can I be with the sensation of this fight or flight mode? Can I love it? Can I thank it for trying to keep me safe, because it's exactly what it's trying to do? And then as it's seen, it can give you its wisdom and let go and integrate. And now you're able to open the emails.
What's something like somebody quickly can do to start practicing that self-awareness? self-awareness of noticing that, where they feel some sort of fight or flight coming on as they even get to their emails or as they start opening their mail. Like, what's something they could do quickly to like either catch it or regulate it?
Yeah. So always we want to resource safety. So I'll get you guys to close your eyes for a second. Can I just show you something really quickly?
Oh,
yeah, how fun.
we've never
Done
done
this time.
this.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And just notice your breath coming in and out. Just noticing. And then noticing the sensations in the body, just with a broad awareness, letting them be exactly as they are. All of them welcome exactly as they're meant to be. And then notice where you feel safety in the body. Notice whereabouts in the body you feel safety. It could be in the torso, in a pinky finger. It could be in multiple places. And then when you find safety, breathing into it, allowing it to expand, just noticing the sensations of safety, noticing the texture of safety, noticing as you breathe into it, becomes more prominent. And then offering any parts of you that don't feel safe, this safety, letting them tap into the safety that is in the body. And then noticing that I didn't ask if you could feel safety. Notice that I asked where it was, because it's always here. It's always here in the present moment. And you can open your eyes.
I don't know if your shoulder was on me. Like my delt, my right, like popping, like pop, 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 pop,
Oh,
pop,
now
pop.
your safety?
No. I was going to ask you if you could feel it. If it was, no, because it was like,
Feel it.
it was pulsing so hard.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Did you find the safety?
Yeah.
Mine was my leg, but my leg's on you, so you're my safety.
Yes, and it looks like you've got very strong legs, so that makes sense. So you feel safe. Yeah.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was
And
great.
so,
Like, go ahead.
yeah, so safety is always here in the present moment. It's only when we're thinking about the future or the past that we don't feel safe. So when you can drop into the present moment and go, where do I feel safety in my body? And just know that it's there, then you don't need anything outside of you to be different for you to feel safe. You know that the safety comes from you. So then, yeah, I would, if you know that you get triggered by your emails or call a phone call, I would tap into that safety just to remind yourself that safety is always here and it's always part of me. I don't need anyone to give it to me. And then get on the phone to your ex, for example.
Now, on that safety note, like one of the things that I've tried to communicate to a lot of people is that if you don't feel safe, and that might not have been the word that I've used, but it's what I meant. If you don't feel safe, then your body's going to resist changing, right? If your body's not in a good place, putting it in a calorie deficit or straining it through more exercise, none of that stuff is going to make anything happen, right? Because it doesn't feel good. So how would you agree with that? How much of someone's transformation has to do with how safe they feel?
100% of it. So that's why people get to their goals and then they quote unquote sabotage them, is because it's not really sabotage. It's just a part of you that's trying to find safety. And it feels, some people, I have had clients who felt safer with being bigger in their bodies because it felt like less people would look at them, and they had trauma around, like assault and things like that. And so, yeah, there can be a big, if you don't feel safe, then the subconscious will push away anything that's not familiar. That's why we do a lot of visualizing and like living in the end result energy. I don't know if you guys use that, but it's like it trains the subconscious to feel safe when the thing comes, when the goal comes, so that you don't sabotage it. Because it's like when people win the lotto and then all of their money goes out the window because their nervous system goes, whoa, no, I'm not okay with all of this money. Get rid of it, get rid of it.
We talk about that all the time.
Oh, do you? Yeah, yeah. So you can go back to that safety set point. It's the same thing. So yeah, I use a lot of visualization. I've actually got a manifestation challenge I'm running at the moment, but I use a lot of visualization for manifestation, and it's also it is just to set you up so that when you get there, you don't throw it all away. It becomes your new normal, because when the goal arrives, you want it to feel like, oh, okay, this is normal, this is natural. I'm just stepping into my goal, and now I've hit my goal and off I go, rather than it being a real like, what, I got there, and it's like that really heightened, because on the other side of that is a drop down the other side. So yeah, so I would say safety, it's the number one thing for people to be able to reach their goals and to stay there, because people can reach their goals through willpower, but being able to stay there is
it makes so much sense.
I do want to take an opportunity, since you mentioned manifestation challenge. Where can people find more of your stuff or dig into more of your stuff?
Oh, so you can, my website is just KristyEagleton.com, or my Instagram is Kristy Eagleton Coach. So,
and I'll link all of that in the show notes and in the description. So if you're listening or watching, you can click out directly onto that. What do you say to somebody who's listening to this or watching this and saying to themselves, you know, I get it, like I feel all of that, but I just don't know where to start, or I don't know what to do next?
I would say, if you don't have a stillness practice, like some sort of breath work or meditation, start there, because that's what's going to give you the ability to be able to drop into, this is deeper work that I'm talking about that I do with my clients, and there needs to be some sort of access to peace to be able to tap into it. So yeah, start with some meditation, start with some breath work. You'd be really surprised at what comes up and at what you notice within yourself, particularly with breath work. I mean, that just moves a lot of energy through without you even knowing. So I highly recommend breathwork journeys, daily breath work, to move things through the body. Get started.
What you clearly have been helping people, as your website says, get to the best, version of themselves for a long time in a lot of different ways. And even like you said, in your own life, with currently what you do, like the somatic work is what it's called specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think is the most impactful part about that for somebody? So let's say somebody already has a stillness, practice that they do, and they have the ability to chill, unlike me, and access some sort of peace. What is the most like profound or impactful thing that comes when they get to that point where they are, doing that next level work?
So people are able to be who that they, let me start that again. Okay. So people who are doing somatic work with me, is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. So they're able to reach their goals, they're able to have bigger visions, and they're able to show up every day in a way that they weren't able to before. So if they were doubting themselves, if they were like, I want to live this big life and I want to earn all this money, and self-doubt comes up and they don't post on Instagram, or they don't show up for their meetings, doing somatic work means that they can easily show up. They can easily believe in themselves. They're not questioning what people are thinking about them, because they realize that people are not thinking about them. It's not about what anyone else thinks. It's just about what you think. And so being able to take that power back into themselves, and so that they're not giving it out to other people, and having their worthiness and their safety in the world rely on their outer circumstances or what other people are saying or what other people are thinking, means that they're powerful. They can do whatever they want to do without having to question themselves without needing anyone's permission. So yeah,
Love
it just
that.
really removes any resistance. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, Kristy, I definitely want to thank you because it is the beginning of the year, and this is the kind of conversation that, like, we've been itching to have for a long time. And this is the kind of thing that people should be thinking about as they're looking at what 2026 can bring or what any new week or day can bring to them. Having clarity, belief, feeling safe. But they definitely should not do it on their own. They should definitely seek out expertise like the one that you provide. And I really appreciate having this conversation with you, especially with our time difference. For all of you that are listening, that are watching, make sure you leave questions. Make sure you follow Kristy. Make sure you engage in more things like this, because that is going to be how you show up as a better version of yourself, because you will feel safer to do so. So once again, Kristy, thank you. And for everybody listening and watching, do all the things that people do on podcasts: like, share, comment, subscribe. And until next time, peace out, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.